Hello, welcome to our live webinar on how to reduce your operational costs through our services solutions. I am Tuba Alım, and I'm working as Regional Sales Support Manager in Greater Middle East and Africa in Tetra Pak. Today, I have two experts with me, Mohammed Yusuf and Yasin Anwar. They are experts on the studies on how to reduce operational costs in customers' plants. Let me give you some tips before we commence the webinar. In fact, the webinar is streamed through your computer, and so that you don't need to dial in a number. And the webinar is actually, for a better quality webinar, it's good that if you could close the other web browsers in your computer and other programs. Please make sure that your headset is on and your volume speaker is also on. And during this webinar, we will have two poll questions. Please do join us and answer the questions so that we could hear your voice and your feedback. And for any other questions, please do use the Q&A button below your screen. Type your questions so that we could have your questions, and hopefully we will dedicate the last 10-15 minutes of the webinar for your questions. And last but not the least, please don't forget to respond to the end webinar survey so that we will get your feedback, and hopefully we will serve you better next time. Saying that, I would like to give the word to my colleague Mohammed Yusuf. And Mohammed?
Thank you, Tuba. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the webinar. My name is Mohammed Yusuf. I'm a plant optimization expert at Tetra Pak, and I will be taking you through some of the topics today. Then I will hand over to my colleague Yasin, who will take you through the rest of the topics. In today's agenda, we have the following topics. We will start by talking about how to measure the effectiveness of the operation. Then we will talk about how this links to your operational cost. And then we will show you how Tetra Pak can help you optimize your costs. We will then take you through some success stories of projects that we have implemented in different places of the world. And then we will have time at the end of this session for some questions and answers. So, in today's world, it's all about balancing conflicting drivers. So every business is striving for increased performance, which doesn't come for free. Every business is also striving to reduce the risks, which doesn't come cheap. So at the end of the day, it's all about finding the right combinations of all these drivers that result in the lowest operational cost. Achieving the lowest operational cost is, of course, very important and is a challenge of its own. But a bigger challenge is to maintain the level of operational cost at the lowest possible, even when the situation changes. Today, we are living in a world where change is the norm. So things are changing every day. And we need to learn how to cope with the changes. When we say the word performance, do we refer to performance of the equipment or performance of the people who are using the equipment or the process and tools they use to do the job? Well, in fact, we talk about the whole thing, the entire operation. Performance of the entire operation is the most important thing. And the better word to describe this rather than performance is effectiveness. So how do we measure the effectiveness of the operation? A lot of customers today, manufacturers, are using overall equipment effectiveness, OEE, to measure the effectiveness of the operation. OEE is simply the product of availability times performance times quality. Let's talk briefly about each of the components. Availability measures how much the equipment is available to run at any given moment. You can have your line up and ready for production, but you are waiting for the right cap color to be issued from the raw material store. This, of course, will affect the availability of the line. So availability is looking at the effects that are coming from outside the line. Performance is more straightforward. It refers to the equipment itself, the issues, the stops that are arising from the equipment itself. Quality refers to the percentage of the production that is conforming with specifications. So this is the product that does not need to be reworked. Now that we have spoken about OEE, why do we measure OEE? Simply because to measure is to know. If we don't measure, we don't know where we are. Once we start to measure, we know where the operation effectiveness is, then we can benchmark against others. We can benchmark against best practices. Then we can learn how to improve the operations by closing the gaps between our current operation level and best practices or world-class. Closing the gaps and achieving the world-class record, world-class figures will help us reduce the operational cost. Reducing the operational cost will definitely improve our profitability. And this is what every business is after. Now let's look at OEE. How is it defined? We start by total time. And total time is the total solar time, meaning 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. We start by taking out the unplanned time. Unplanned time is weekends, public holidays, and the time when there is no need to produce, i.e. no production plan. The remaining portion of time is referred to as available time. Then we look at downtime losses, and these include things like shutdowns, breakdowns, setup losses, changeovers, and startup losses. When we deduct this from available time, we are left with what is called operating time. Then we start to look at the equipment, the performance of the equipment. And here we deduct minor stops and idle losses, as well as speed losses. Then we are left with net operating time. And this is the time where the line is actually producing packages. But this is not all. We have to look also at quality losses, which is the percentage of this product that does not conform with specifications, because this has to be reworked or scrapped. The remaining is called production time. And this is what we call value added time. This is the only time during the operation where the operation itself is adding to the organization. This is where we produce sellable packs, sell them for a revenue. So OEE simply is the product of availability times performance times quality. It can also be calculated in a different way, which is by dividing production time by available time. In the picture you see here, this is the level of world-class OEE. It's currently at 85%. You also see the corresponding levels of availability, performance, and quality. Now that we have spoken about OEE, let's speak about how does that impact on the operational cost. First of all, does OEE impact operational cost? Yes, it does. Let's see how. The data we have collected from the projects that we have performed in different places of the world are collected in our database. And the points that you see, data points that you see on the chart here, are coming from real projects. they are coming from the database. So as it looks, the higher the OEE, the lower the operational cost. Our data scientists have produced an empirical model that links OEE to operational cost. Using this model, we can estimate the level of operational cost that you are at for a given OEE level. The model is considering different parameters like different product types, different package sizes, and different labor or wage costs. We decided to make this data available to our customers through a simple interface. The QR code that you see on the screen here will take you to the operational benchmarking application on tetrapak.com site. And there you can actually estimate your operational cost in a simple way. Now I will show you a short video that explains how to use the benchmarking application. You will receive an email after the webcast with a link to the operational benchmarking application, and then you can use it at your convenience. The operational benchmarking tool is very simple to use. All what you have to do is to select the language that you want to use, read the simple instructions, click Begin. You will go to this page where you have to input some basic characteristics like the type of product that you run. You have a selection between dairy, juice, nectar, still drinks, and other foods. You will have to input the package volume that you're running. You have a selection of family and portion. You have to input the labor rate that you are currently at, 16 euros, let's say, and the TCU level that you are running at today, let's say 30%. Then the number of liters that you run in a year, in million liters, I'll say 100 milliliters. Click Submit. The tool will calculate and produce a report for you. At the top of the report, you see the TCU benchmark, and this shows you where you are among the similar peers that we have in our database. And the operational cost benchmark will give you the estimated level of operational cost that you are currently at, 28.3. The report can always be downloaded as PDF by clicking this button. As you can see, the tool is very simple to use. It's always available on tetrapak.com, and you can always use it at your convenience. Please use the tool at your convenience, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. Now let's take a quick quiz. What is the world-class level of OEE today? Please answer via the screen in front of you. Okay, let's look at the results. So I see that we are split in between 75% and 85%. Well, the right answer is world-class level is currently at 85%. Great. Now let's go to the next step. Now that we have spoken about OEE, and we've spoken about the relationship of OEE to operational cost. Now let's look at the definition of operational cost. Operational cost is simply the cost that you incur to convert your raw materials, in this case, packaging material and product, into a sellable pack. So the total cost of a sellable pack can be split into these three components: product, packaging material, and operational cost. Operational cost in itself is made up of these four items, namely maintenance cost, running cost, waste cost, and capital cost. And we call these components cost items. Now, these components are generated by the activities that you do within your operations, like cleaning, like setups and changeovers, maintenance, any other activities, production schedule, when the equipment is scheduled for production, when the equipment is idle. So in short, everything that impacts on the overall equipment effectiveness, your OEE. And these we call cost drivers, because they drive the cost items that generate the operational cost. Now, if you want to look at an individual operation and how to optimize it, we use what we call cost mapping. And cost mapping is an activity that is based on activity-based costing. And we use that to visualize how your operational cost is split and how the different activities contribute to the overall operational cost. So in the chart that you see on the screen here, the horizontal axis is showing you the different activities that are being performed within the operations. And the colored areas are corresponding to how much each of the activities is contributing into each of the cost items. The net operating time, as we mentioned before, is the only value-adding time in the operation. The rest is non-value adding time. Of course, it's activities that we will have to perform, like cleaning and maintenance. But the idea is to optimize these operations to maximize value adding time and thus reduce operational cost. With the cost mapping, we are able to focus on the right areas to give you the biggest savings, i.e. the biggest return on investment. So if we see that, for example, production schedule is something that needs to be optimized, then this is the area where we focus our activities. Now I will hand over to my colleague Yassine, who is going to take you through the rest of the topics. Please, Yassine.
Thank you, Muhammad. Welcome everyone to our webinar, today's webinar, and my name is Yassine Anwar. I'm working as Operational Excellence Consultant in Tetra Pak, and I will take you through the rest of the slides here. Let's start by this nice slide. Actually, if we'd like to say something about that, we will think about the circle in the center. We are working in Tetra Pak by step-by-step approach to optimize your operation, and we are looking to do some activities in measuring, benchmarking, and improving as well. Over the years, we perfected our approach to plant optimization. We have a structured step-by-step approach, as we said, and we start usually by identifying your needs by running what we call a BIM breakdown analysis in the very beginning. The BIM breakdown analysis is a 1.5-day workshop, and we invite, or the participants in this workshop are the key stakeholders in your organization, and they start to identify the main pains of your operations and their business impact. Of course, this may be followed by a Tetra Pak Opportunity Analysis, which is a deeper study or a detailed study of your operations in which we measure the different aspects of your operations and benchmark them against similar operations, or as we call them, the peers of your operations. The result is a report detailing the potential improvement areas within your operations and how much they impact your business in financial terms. And finally, if you want Tetra Pak to help you to realize the identified opportunities, we can tailor-make a solution just to do that. In the following slides, we will talk a little bit more in details about our approach and about the steps of our approach. As a beginning, we talk about the first step to understand your needs, which is called pain breakdown analysis, as we said. Implementation in this for this pain breakdown analysis usually takes 1.5 days if we implement this in physical sessions. However, due to current circumstances, we developed another way to conduct this workshop remotely, and it will take almost 2 full days. Participants of this workshop, as we mentioned, are the key stakeholders in your organization. Key functions such as planning, production, maintenance, quality, and supply chain can participate with 2 to 3 members per each department. The workshop follows a 5-step approach or a 5-step process, let's say. In step number 1, the participants started to diagnose the operations in your plant by giving their observations and writing down their observation in the workshop. Of course, step number 2 will be to consolidate these observations into some main pain areas in your operations. And this also done by stakeholders. By the way, all the steps are being done by the stakeholders of your organization, and the role of Tetra Pak is only to facilitate this workshop. So step 2, as we said, is to consolidate all the observations into main pain areas, and then to prioritize the pains and prioritize 2 to 3 or maybe 4 pain areas if we'd like to. Step number 3 is to start thinking about the reasons beyond these pains and the sub-reasons even to reach roughly the root cause of these pains as well. And of course, as next step, we will go in step number 4 to identify or quantify the consequence and impact on the business, the consequence of the pain and their impact on the business. So now we start to figure out roughly what are the business impact and what are the consequences that we have from our pain areas. And then finally, of course, in step number 5, we start to think and discuss about some solutions to some pain, to some clear pains we have the opportunity to. So that was about the pain breakdown analysis. And as we said, it takes almost 1.5 days if we conduct the workshop physically. But if we conduct it remotely, then we need complete 2 days. The next step is a deeper study of your operations. So a Tetra Pak Opportunity Analysis is a detailed study of the different aspects of your operations. Implementation of this study can go from 6 or 2 weeks to even 3 months. Can go from 2 weeks to 3 months, depending on the scope of the study and, of course, the availability of data by your side. The study starts by collecting a lot of data from your operations. So the major thing here, or the major input here, is the data coming from customer side. The data is then validated within your people, within your stakeholders, prior to starting the analysis phase. And here you can see some examples from the assessment areas that we need to collect some data to assess the situation on the shop floor or on the plant. So we will take, for example, operational maturity assessment. We will have the plant or operational performance study, for example, financial evaluation, parts operational assessment, quality study, supply chain study, and so on. So these are all kinds of assessment areas that we can assess during the study. Of course, the data after that is then used to model the current situation of the operations and how they benchmark against similar operations or against the peers. And finally, the findings are documented and quantified in a report, and potential improvement opportunities are presented in financial terms. So as you can see here on the screen, you will find the size of opportunity, which is coming from different aspects or different departments or different steps on the operation. Then we can have some opportunities coming from quality side, some opportunities in capital investment, some opportunities in people, some opportunities in data or operational technology, some opportunities in losses, and of course, for integrated planning as well. So these are the output, which is coming from, the outcome is coming from this study as well. So after having the measure and benchmark, now we will think about improvement. This is the normal evolution of what we are doing. So the final step here is to implement the improvement. And as we said before, we can tailor-make a solution to fit your operational needs in Tetra Pak, of course. At this stage, having been presented with the potential improvement opportunities, you may decide to implement these improvements. Implementation could go from 6 months to 3 years, depending on the scope of the solution, which can vary from single line to full plants. Tetra Pak can help you also can help you with a tailor-made solution involving a combination of improvement methodology and digital enablers led by Tetra Pak consultant. Improvement activities come as standalone services and or integrated solutions with an outcome-based price. So we have some examples here. As you can see, we can have some services just like the daily management system, which we call it for short DMS. We can have focus improvement projects or focus improvement route. We call them FI or continuous improvement project in a larger scale, and we call them CI. Also, we can have the mother of all improvement activities, which is total productive maintenance or TPM for short. In a way, we can have another solutions, and these solutions are just like Tetra Pak plant care with performance guarantee, or we can have another solution just like Tetra Pak plant care with OEE guarantee or operational cost guarantee as well. In the next slides, we will show you success cases from some projects that we have implemented, but first let's watch together a short video for Tetra Pak TPM. So please enjoy the video and have fun.
What if there was a way to take every area of your operation to a whole new level of performance? There is. With Tetra Pak Expert Services, you get access to our most comprehensive maintenance methodology to date. Total Productive Maintenance, TPM for short. TPM is your key to enhancing your plant's entire operations. In fact, it's so effective, we use it ourselves in our converting factories. The TPM journey comprises of just 3 steps. We begin with an assessment to establish your needs and objectives. And, unlike other programs, Total Productive Maintenance involves everyone, from management to line workers. We then use the industry's largest installed base to benchmark your performance against other operations. And finally, we identify and prioritize activities to ensure you realize your goals. Identifying your exact challenges, losses, and waste, and finding the best way to eliminate them is the best way to limit your plant's environmental impact while securing product quality. Specifically, you can reduce consumption of water and energy. This enables you to cut costs throughout your production line and start growing your business. The cornerstone of total productive maintenance is its focus on staff involvement, and it encourages learning to achieve the best results. It's ideal for operations of any size that want to ensure fewer losses and continued improvements across the board. So, if you want to release your operation's full performance, Total Productive Maintenance by Tetra Pak is the answer to your needs. Tetra Pak Services, your key to boosting productivity.
So, ending by your key to boosting your productivity, we have here to move for the next poll or the next quiz that we promised you to have. And then please answer the following question on your screen. The question says that how much does operational cost contribute to the total cost of a sellable package? Is it 3 to 5% of the total cost? 10 to 15% of the total cost, 5 to 20% of the total cost. Let's have 30 seconds to answer the quiz, and then we can resume again. Well, let's see the answers that we have here. Oh, okay. We have a split here between 3 to 5% of the total cost of sellable packages. Okay, and we have much more opinions going to 5 to 20% of the total cost of sellable packages. The correct answer is from 5 to 20% of the total cost of sellable packages. Thank you for sharing your opinion. Okay, now we are going to talk about some success stories happened with us by implementing our solutions to our customers. The success story here is about a customer in Greater Middle East and Africa. The customer is a very big customer, has 8 plants of food manufacturing, including 2 plants for juice and milk, and they called it plant number 1 and plant number 2. There was some challenges at customer side, and the customer himself asked us to do the following: to improve the plant performance, increase packages produced, reduce operational cost. The scope of the service or the solution was to cover all the plant number 1, and the plant number 1 includes Tetra Pak processing equipment and 12 Tetra Pak packaging lines. The solution was to have 2 different phases. The phase number 1 is to measure what we have, what is the current situation, and then we applied the Tetra Pak Opportunity Analysis at that time. Phase 2 was to improve, and then we applied a complete continuous improvement solution. And the complete continuous improvement solution itself, it has 4 sub-projects or 4 sub-solutions inside it: the daily management system, focused improvement, autonomous maintenance, and the 5S. The time frame for the solution was 2 years, complete 2 years. So we agreed on the solution and we implemented, but how did we implement the solution at customer site? As I said before, we have 4 routes inside the continuous improvement project. The 4 routes are daily management system, focused improvement, and autonomous maintenance, and 5S. For the daily management system, when we implement the daily management system, we succeeded to reach some very valid points, just like improve the collaboration level between the shop floor people and middle management and top management even, establish a reliable data collection system, and build a culture of continuous improvement and the shop floor people, which was very effective at the customer side, and he appreciated it very well at the end of the project. The second route was focused improvement, the FI. And by implementing the focused improvement, we succeeded to build a structured approach to address the most relevant issues by identifying and eradicating the root causes, which is also considered as a mindset change at the customer shop floor people, and that was really great success at that time. The third route was autonomous maintenance, and by implementing autonomous maintenance, we succeeded to develop the operator competence, improved sense of ownership at the operators, reduce unplanned stops, and reduce time to restoration. The last but not least, of course, implementing the 5S, and we all know that the 5S is to organize the workplace. However, by doing that at the customer side, and they really needed to do that, so by doing the 5S, by implementing the 5S at customer side, we succeeded to improve the safety, reduce movement, and improve productivity after all. So that was the solution that we implemented at customer side and the details about it. But what was the achieved results? Finally, at the end of the 2 years, we concluded the achieved result with the main 4 areas, as we can show here in this slide. The main 4 areas that generated savings were product waste, as by reducing the overfilled product in packages, we saved 950 kilo at that time. Also the performance area, by improving the OE from 45% to 63%, we saved 750 kilo euros. Also the losses, the pack mat or the package material losses, we reduced the pack mat waste from 3.3% to 1%. And by doing that, we saved 190 kilo euros. And finally, the capacity, by increasing monthly produced packages from 42 million pack to 59 million packs, we saved the customer 450 kilo euros. And all these savings sum up to 2.3 million euros of savings over the course of 2 years. But what happened next? After the customer realized the benefits of continuous improvement methodology and the mindset change at the shop floor and everything, they decided to ask Tetra Pak to do the following. First, extend the contract for another additional year at plant number 1, start the activities at plant number 2, and expand the continuous improvement methodology to this plant with another 2 years contract. So this is about a success story happened in our cluster, in our Greater Middle East area. But what about outside Greater Middle East? We have also another success story that we will show you now in the coming video. And it's coming from South America, specifically Brazil, and our customer there, Jussara, and they will show you how did they implement the TPM and how that TPM did affect their operations. Enjoy the video.
Sem o TPM, as decisões eram tomadas muitas vezes no escuro, né? E isso era péssimo para a empresa.
A realidade é essa, o mercado está mudando, nós precisamos mudar. E além disso, nós fizemos uma reunião com a Tetra Pak, juntamente com a diretoria, e eles nos posicionaram versus outros clientes, nós estávamos em último lugar. Nós éramos as últimas máquinas do Brasil, em termos de performance.
A maior dificuldade foi incutir na cabeça do colaborador a mudança necessária.
Nós nem medíamos indicadores, não tínhamos preocupação se a máquina estava parada, estava rodando, era apertar o botão da máquina e partir e produzir. Como foi passando o tempo e o TPM foi evoluindo, os resultados vieram logo no primeiro ano, resultados como 16% a mais no indicador principal da fábrica, o indicador de eficiência de linha, redução de perdas de embalagem.
Não tinha um cronograma de manutenção. E o TPM traz isso, previsibilidade.
Ou seja, o TPM para nós foi também um agente de engajamento das pessoas, de comprometimento das pessoas.
Mais um desafio, né? Com o TPM conseguimos ter um crescimento sustentável. Agora o 4.0 ele vem para juntar todos esses dados, automatizar a informação e ali facilitar a tomada de decisões. A ordem de grandeza entre 3 a 4 milhões de reais foram investidos. Hoje estimamos pelo menos em 6 milhões já de retorno. O caminho é longo, mas hoje nós não conseguimos ver a empresa sem este programa.
I hope you enjoyed the video. And at this point, I will give back the control to my colleague Mohammed to continue with the next slides. And thank you so much for your attention and hope to hear from you soon. Back to you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Yassine. Now that we have seen a lot of success stories, let's answer this question. Why should you select Tetra Pak as your partner in this improvement journey? I'll give you some answers. Tetra Pak is a full system supplier, meaning that we can provide you with all the components of the solution that you might need. We also have a unique benchmarking capability because of the access to best practices in a lot of customers all over the world, plus the data that we have in the database coming from the projects that we've implemented. We are also not just a consultant that is training you on how to do TPM. We are actually practitioners of TPM. We are using the methodology in our converting factories, and that's where actually everything started. We also have the best maintenance practices for our equipment and for other equipment, again, coming from the different projects that we've implemented all over the world. We can offer you outcome-based solutions, which is a way of sharing pains and gains with you. Tetra Pak has also an extensive asset management expertise. In fact, Tetra Pak was a committee member in the ISO 55000 standard committee. Now let's take a look at our journey with optimization services. It started back in 2000 when we have completed our successful implementation of TPM in our converting factories. And at that point in time, we realized the benefits and said, okay, why don't we roll out the knowledge to our customers? And a few years later, we launched our first improvement product called OCR, Operational Cost Reduction Focused Improvement, or for short OCR-FI. And that is a short duration, usually 4 to 6 months, and it focuses on a single line or 2 lines. And it was a big success that led to our customers asking for more. That's why in 2010, we launched our new product, OCR-CI, Continuous Improvement, which is a more comprehensive program that runs over a longer period of time, 2 years, and it can cover single lines to complete plants. And again, that was a big success. That led us later on to launch our full TPM implementation service. Later, we also launched our Tetra Pak Plant Secure, which is our total plant asset management program. It's also impactful to speak with figures. So the figures you see here, we have more than 80 consultants or operational excellence experts from all over the world, which means that we have the knowledge and expertise of implementing improvement projects in different cultures, in different areas of the world. We have implemented, in fact, more than 200 improvement projects over the past few years in all different places of the world. And in these projects, we have managed to save our customers up to 11% on average of operational cost. That amounted to over 500 kilo euros of savings in a year for the project. Now I will hand over to my colleague Tuba, who will take your questions, and then we will have some time to answer them. Please, Tuba.
Yes, yes, Mohammed. So thank you for the presentation. When I check the Q&A box, I see some questions already arrived. So let me then ask these questions to you so that you could answer. The first question says that we do not measure the overall equipment effectiveness in the way that you described. Are there other methods to do that?
Yes, actually, different customers tend to measure OEE in different ways. For example, we have seen customers who consider cleaning time, for example, as unplanned time. So it's actually taken outside the calculation of OEE. Of course, this results in a higher figure of OEE. But if we look from another perspective, cleaning is in itself a process that can be improved, meaning that the time does not have to be 4 hours, it can be less. By optimizing the process, you can reduce this time. That's why we say that any process that can be improved should be part of the OEE calculation. I hope this answered the question.
I believe so. Okay, let me go to the next one. It says, you mentioned about cost items and cost drivers. I still struggle to understand the difference between them.
Okay, let me try and explain it. Let's take a simple example from home. Let's say that you are receiving your electricity bill and you see that it's coming very high and you want to do something about it. How will you do that? Your electricity bill is coming from the consumption of electricity that you have at home. So what actually is consuming electricity? Well, I mean, you're consuming electricity in entertainment, your TV, your stereo system. You're consuming electricity in lighting. You could be consuming it in heating, cooling, air conditioning, cooking, different activities. Now you need to look at each of these activities and how much electricity is it consuming and see which one of them is the biggest one, and that's where you start to focus. So in this case, the activities like entertainment, heating, cooling, and so on are called cost drivers. The cost item that we are looking at is electricity. I hope this simplifies the matter a little bit.
Yeah, thank you for the good analogy, Mohammed. Okay, the third question says that, I think it was Yasin mentioning about pain breakdown analysis and also Tetra Pak Opportunity Analysis. And the question says that, can we use only one of these services to understand the situation in our plant, or shall we go for both?
Okay. Actually, the two products, the pain breakdown analysis and Tetra Pak Opportunity Analysis, both of them are there for a reason. The pain breakdown analysis is a rough, quick way of estimating where the savings are and how much they are. If we are looking for a more concrete way or concrete detailed report, we should go for a Tetra Pak Opportunity Analysis. Of course, it's a much longer activity, as Yasin was mentioning, a few months. And of course, it's a lot of work, a lot of effort. But then you arrive at a much more concrete I would say, figures.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to simply answer, if the pain breakdown analysis is enough to take a decision, then that's it. You don't need to go for a TPOA unless you need more concrete figures.
Yeah, I agree. Pain breakdown will give you a more generic understanding of your plant. So I agree with that, yes. You mentioned, the last question is actually, it says that you mentioned about outcome-based pricing when talking about the solutions you are offering in Tetra Pak. How does it work, this outcome-based pricing?
Okay. It's simply a way of sharing the pains and gains between Tetra Pak and the customer. So if we have a project that is aimed at improving OEE, for example, then we set a target for OEE, and the price that you have to pay to Tetra Pak is linked to the level of OEE achieved. Let's say we aim at a 60% OEE. Now, if we, during the project, do not manage to reach more than 58 or 59% OEE, it means that the price will be reduced. On the other hand, if we manage to exceed the target and deliver 61, 62% OEE, it means that the price will increase.
Okay, okay, great. Another question is actually says, what should be the duration of CIP? I believe maybe it's stated in a way that perhaps considering the studies that we are doing, what you just described, you know, studies about operational costs, studies about cost drivers, do we really touch upon on this CIP duration, or how do we approach it overall?
Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about the definition of CIP. I mean, cleaning the line, there is what is usually referred to as technical CIP, and this is the time where you need to have the cleaning solution circulating within the pipes to achieve the required cleaning effect. And this is something that does not change. I mean, if it's 45 minutes, it's 45 minutes. You cannot really reduce it. However, there are some activities that go along with this technical CIP. And it's preparing the equipment or taking the equipment down from production to step 0. And then you have to connect some pipes, and then you have to remove packaging material. And there are some procedures that has to be done. After the cleaning is completed, you again have to do some procedures to take the machine again back to production. So for us, we define CIP as the time between the last good package that you take out of the line before the cleaning to the first good package that you take out of the line after the cleaning. So this is the time which includes the technical CIP plus all the other procedures that you have to do. And the 45 minutes, as I said, cannot be reduced, but the rest of the procedures can be optimized to reduce the overall time of CIP. So to answer the question, we have seen CIP times that are ranging from like 1.5 to 2 hours to 5-6 hours. It all depends on the setup of the plant, the length of the pipes, the complexity. I mean, it's a big thing. But the point is, any kind of setup, I mean, CIP is a setup. It's changing from one process to another, one product to another, one size to another. And any of these processes can be optimized.
Okay. And then in relation to that, the last question, Mohammed, is in fact, if you can tell a bit more maybe about the value-adding time and non-value-adding time, and where would you put CIP in that? I mean, because you were mentioning about it before.
Okay. By definition, value-adding time is the time where you are producing a package that you can take to the market, sell, and get a revenue for. Now, if we look at CIP, cleaning, okay, it's an essential thing to do, of course. Of course, you have to clean the line, otherwise you will not be able to produce. But from a customer perspective, does it really add value to the customer? Not really. From an organization perspective, the time that we are cleaning is not adding value to the organization, because during that time we are not producing packs that can be sold. So the time which you defined earlier as the net production time, where you are producing packages that are first sellable, conforming with specifications, is the only time that we call value added time. The rest is non-value adding. And what we can do about is to optimize or reduce the non-value adding time to the bare minimum, so that we achieve the highest uptime and consequently the lowest operational cost.
Okay, great answer. Thank you. Actually, by that, in fact, we conclude the question and answer. I don't see any more questions. And so I would like to thank you, Mohammed and Yasin, for the detailed explanation. And I hope that we could be able to give some type of information to our audience on how to reduce operational cost through our services solutions. I would like to highlight once again that please reach us out. Maybe you didn't ask any questions, but you can reach us out still through the email addresses that we provide with the invite. And please also do answer the end webinar survey you will just receive now when we end the webcast. And we really appreciate your comments and your feedback, because it's crucial for us, hopefully, to serve better you next time. Dear colleagues, so once again, thank you. And yeah, hope to meet in another webinar, another webcast.
Well, thank you, Tuba. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you so much for attending, and see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, dear customers. Hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.